Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's crunchy question comes from one of our awesome viewers, Pickle Rick 72. Thanks for that tasty suggestion, Rick. You asked, how do pickles stay crunchy in jars? And honestly, same. It's one of those things you never think about until you're halfway through a jar at 2 a.m., contemplating life and wondering why that pickle still has the texture of a fresh cucumber, while your leftover fries turned into sadness. So today, we're cracking open the chemistry of pickles, what keeps them crispy, how brine becomes a spa treatment, and why calcium chloride might be the unsung hero of your sandwich. If you've ever been weirdly impressed by a pickle's durability, or just want to know what's going on inside those jars, stick around, right here on Explaining Everything. Let's start with the obvious. Pickles are cucumbers. Cucumbers are full of water, fragile, and usually don't have a long shelf life. If you leave a cucumber in your fridge too long, it turns into a sad, mushy vegetable with a consistency of regret. But pickles? Pickles are tough. They've seen things. They sit in a jar, suspended in liquid, sometimes for months or even years, and still greet you with that satisfying crunch like they were picked yesterday. It's the kind of textural miracle that makes you question whether cucumbers go to boot camp before entering jars. But no, the answer is much cooler, and yes, a little science-y. So why are cucumbers crunchy to begin with? It comes down to plant cell walls. These walls are made of cellulose, which gives the cucumber its firmness. Inside those cells is water, and together they make the cucumber crisp, snappy, and the perfect candidate for pickling. But soaking anything in liquid usually makes it soft. Just ask any cereal that sat in milk for more than 12 seconds. So, you'd think pickling a cucumber would lead to a soggy, floppy mess. But thanks to a few clever tricks and one compound that's basically a personal trainer for vegetables, cucumbers can hold onto their crunch long after their fresh produce days are over. Enter the brine. This is where the magic happens. Brine is a mix of vinegar, salt, water, and spices. Sometimes there's garlic, sometimes sugar, sometimes a chili pepper if you're feeling bold. But vinegar and salt? That's the power duo. Salt starts the party by drawing water out of the cucumber through osmosis. That process actually tightens the cell walls a bit, which helps the cucumber maintain its structure. Then vinegar steps in like a preservative bouncer and keeps any unwanted bacteria from crashing the jar. So rather than softening the cucumber, the brine actually reinforces it. Think of it like a cucumber getting a chemical pep talk. You can do this. You will not be soggy. But brine alone isn't always enough. That's where calcium chloride comes in. If pickles had a personal trainer, calcium chloride would be it. It strengthens the cell walls of the cucumber by interacting with pectin, a natural component that acts like glue between cells. The calcium acts like a structural support beam. No calcium. The pectin starts to break down, and that's when things get floppy. So food manufacturers often add calcium chloride to pickles to keep them firm, crunchy, and ready for sandwich duty. It doesn't change the flavor, and it doesn't make the brine cloudy, so it's the perfect behind-the-scenes hero. That extra crunchy label on some jars? Yeah, that's calcium chloride showing off. Another factor in keeping pickles crispy is temperature. When cucumbers are heated too much during the pickling process, they can cook slightly, which softens their structure. That's why quick pickling, done at lower temperatures, is often better for crunch. Cold brining slows down the enzymes that naturally cause softening, kind of like cryogenic freezing, but for salad ingredients. If you're pickling at home, don't boil your cucumbers. They are not soup. They are warriors of the crunch, and they deserve gentle, chilly respect. Not all pickles are created equal. Some are fermented, using natural bacteria to produce lactic acid instead of relying on vinegar. These pickles can be amazing in flavor, but they tend to lose their crunch a little faster if not handled properly. On the other hand, vinegar-based pickles, like the ones in your grocery store, are made with acidity in mind. The vinegar preserves both the cucumber and the crunch, especially when combined with calcium chloride. So, while Grandma's pickles might taste better, the commercial ones are often tougher and longer lasting. Choose your fighter accordingly. If you're making pickles at home and you want that satisfying crunch, there are some clever tricks. First, use the freshest cucumbers you can find. If it's already a little limp, it's not going to magically get better in brine. That's not how science or pickles work. Second, toss in a grape leaf or a bay leaf. These contain tannins, which help inhibit the enzymes that make cucumbers soft. Tannins are basically nature's anti-mush agents. Your grandma probably used them without explaining why, because Grandma just knew. And finally, don't skip the calcium chloride. You can find it labeled as Pickle Crisp in stores. And yes, it does what it says on the jar. So, to wrap it up, pickles stay crunchy thanks to a combination of science, salt, acid, calcium, and old-school wisdom. It's a perfect little example of how food preservation is part chemistry, part culinary art, and part witchcraft handed down through generations. Next time you bite into a crisp dill spear, remember everything going on behind that satisfying snap. You're not just eating a pickle, you're tasting preservation perfection. If you enjoy this video or just relish the crunchy mysteries of life, please like and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.